All right, so now we're going to look at super complex. So let's get started with this. I'm just going to model out something real quick, and it's going to be kind of abstract because I don't want to focus on modeling in this class. I want to focus in on doing UVs on just any shape whatsoever, no matter what it is. And along the way, you can see kind of how I approach things as far as workflow is concerned. So start out with quads, work all quads, always being quads. All right, made a match. Pretty cool, right? And here we go. Like if I smooth that once, looks a lot better, but too perfect. And so I might insert an edge loop right here. That's a little bit better. All right, now what would happen here is I would have the match. I would have like the top of it had to be a different color. So just for example, as far as a complex shape is concerned, how would you do the UVs on this object? And the answer is, well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. If I use the create automatic mapping method, I'm going to get this, which is big hot mess. But there are ways to get some of it out of it. So let's say the match handle, it doesn't look half bad. Okay, now what I want to do is maybe get the handle all by itself. Well, to do that, how about I just do this? Face. And I'll choose all the faces that correlate with the handle in itself. How about from here, and holding control I can deselect. Holding control and shift I can select more. So all these correlate with the handle. Wouldn't it be better to, let's say, cylindrical map these? Okay, let's apply that checkerboard pattern to see where we're at. Okay, we can see that I have UVs there. They're just really stretched. So something that looks more like this would be better because they're square. Okay, the bulb. Well, the bulb could go a couple different directions. It's very organic. So in this case, I might grab all the UVs or grab all the faces. Notice I could select all the faces that I haven't worked on over here rather than try to deselect the ones over here. And let's just do a planar map on that. Let's get it to the right size. And then let's cut it apart. Now, where do we want to cut it? Because we don't want a whole bunch of seams. Well, logic dictates that there's going to be a different type of material here at the very tip of this, right? So let's cut it there. Let's cut it here. And that would leave this thing called an extraordinary vertices. And this is what we have to kind of start thinking about, is where the extraordinary vertice is. In this case, it's right here. That's where 3 meet, not 4. So I look for those because that's where something that's going to be like a natural seam occurs anyway. And by looking for the extraordinary vertice, we can look for a nice area to cut in some occurrences. So there we go. We got that cut. And that would leave me 2 shells. W on the keyboard allows me to move this one out of the way. This one, I could take the UVs and I can maybe unfold it. Okay. Unfolding it didn't do very good. Not at all. Did I miss something? Well, again, here's where some of our tools might come in handy. You can see where the pattern is or where I cut. So let's go to the other method. That one worked out much better. Okay. Again, since this is an organic shape, we're not worried about the direction of the squares. We're worried about the uniformity of the squares. That is so sensitive. Okay, this top part, I would probably do a projection mapping on this. Jump into our top view, create UVs, planar map, and then just do an unfold. And you can see at the top, those are definitely not uniformed. All right, so now we have all our components except for the very bottom. You can see that there's some UVs floating here. Make sure you always find those. And those are the very bottom of the match. I'll create planar mapping and then I'll flip the shell. Control right click to shell. And I'll unfold that too. Now that I have all the components are all unwrapped, my job is to just first make sure all the squares are the same size. Sometimes easy, sometimes hard. And then after I get them all the same size, I could do layout maneuvers. The only thing I have to worry about is this seam right here. And if I have something that's in that area, I might have to redo the UVs differently. But for right now, that works out quite well. To do UVs differently real quick, go to shell, control right click to face, and then for these I might want to do a cylindrical mapping. And there we go. So that's how you change back and forth. And after you do that, you can just relay out. And after you relay out, you might have to adjust things like, let's say, the stretching, because Maya wants to do it one way. You're going to have to manually do that the other way. You can also flip this around so the shell fits better. So that's why I chose this. It's not a super complex part, but it has organic and non-organic parts to it. And I know a match seems kind of lame to do, but really now if you think about it, that was pretty complex as far as UVs are concerned, just on a simple object. So there is a more complex form, and let's move on.